You are listening to I Hate Average podcast featuring Jay from the Bronx.
All right, this is Jay. I Hate Average podcast. I'm back. Another great episode. I'm excited about this week. Last week was a lot of fun. We had Michelle Beatty, the career tipper. She gave some great advice on confidence, having confidence in business, having how the lack of confidence can affect you negatively. Cool content, cool stuff, great conversation. Please continue to check out Michelle Beatty. Check out all of her content at Career Tipper on Twitter and Instagram. A lot of fun having her last week. This week is a little more of a somber episode. This week I want to talk about mental health, and more specifically mental health with men and to be more exact, black men. There's a lot of things going on in our society, and more specifically I wanted to talk about this because I've been watching over the last couple of weeks. I'm sure you have also this Khalif Browder documentary that they've been playing over the last. It's going to be a 6-week docu-series, and it's just been how society and things that go on in your life can affect you mentally. Of course, you guys, if you know the story, Khalif ended up killing himself after being wrongfully accused and sent to Rikers Island prison for 3 years. And within those 3 years, he spent a lot of that time inside solitary confinement, and it messed him up mentally. And he ended up killing himself at a very young age, and that's a dramatic aspect of mental health. But it's other things that black men go through in life that can cause you, to basically go crazy. So I got Rwenshaun Miller here, and we talked about mental health. I got him, he told a powerful story about his life and how he got started with dealing with mental health. And I think it's going to be very valuable for you guys to listen to. And, it might be some people in your life you just want to, just check out, or you might want to check out yourself. And I think it's very, very important. It's a very important conversation to have, especially nowadays. We got this guy as president. It's a lot going on. Police brutality has been out of control. Unemployment has been out of control. People are predicting a dramatic stock market crash within the next year or two. So I think people really just, with all of these things happening in life, you just gotta take a break and consider your mind state. That's just my opinion. You just gotta always consider your mind state. And this is a cool conversation that I had with Rwenshaun Miller, and check it out. All right, everyone. I have here with me Mr. Rwenshaun Miller. He's the founder of Eustress Inc. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How you doing tonight?
I'm great. Excited to have you on because I want to discuss something that people usually don't talk about, which is mental health, and especially as it pertains to men and black men in general. So what got you on your journey? What got you started Eustress Inc?
Really is based off of personal experience. Man, 2006, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and I was actually hospitalized. My family actually drugged me to the hospital and received my diagnosis, ended up withdrawing from school. And when I withdrew from school, I ended up moving to Charlotte, North Carolina, and got on medication and went to therapy and everything and got better.
Okay.
But from there, I actually decided I wanted to go back to school, and I felt like I didn't need meds and stuff anymore because, for one, no one knew that I left school. Well, the reason why I left school, and no one knew exactly that I, was in the hospital and any of that stuff. So I wanted to make sure that I kept it a secret. So when I went back to school, I stopped meds, actually going to therapy, and then my symptoms came back when I got back to school.
Wow.
So instead of me actually getting back on the medication and the things that actually helped me, I started self-medicating with alcohol, and I did that for about 3.5 years.
Okay.
Whereas I was drinking a fifth of tequila every other day.
Oh wow. Oh my
So yeah, so during that period, was battling severe depression. I actually attempted suicide 3 times. Twice OD'd on pills, and another time I put a gun to my head and pulled the trigger.
God. Wow.
So with those failed attempts, it really was eye opening for me, and it was what led me into, for one, journaling, which led into my blog, which led to people reaching out to me, basically saying, "Oh, me too," but they wouldn't tell anybody. And then also the people around me, I could start noticing things in the people around me. People maybe smoke a lot or drink a lot or some things like that. And when you notice those things in people and you want to address them, and you say that they tell them that they might need some type of help. The first thing in our community will be like, "Oh, I'm not crazy," or "Who are you to tell me that I need to go see a therapist or I need to get help," or anything like that. So I think that the easiest way for me to help somebody get help was for me to share my own story. So that's what led into Eustress, and then it just, snowball effect from there.
Definitely. So, did you, because you wanted to keep it a secret, did you view, or is mental stress a weakness? Is it a weakness that you had, or is it just something you went through that people go through?
Oh, it's definitely not a weakness, because if you think about it, a lot of times the issues and stuff that we go through and we try to battle them on our own, that's a strength within itself. And just to be able to address those things and work through them, because a lot of times with the mental illness and the things that we experience through those things, a lot of times we don't even know how to explain what's going on. Yeah, so it's definitely not a weakness, and that's one myth that a lot of times we, especially in the Black community, we try to fall back on, just because of the simple fact. I think a lot of times we don't want to address these types of issues. But everybody has something that they have that going on at some point in time. Just because life is stressful, period.
Of course, it is. So, what's something that the first time that you went to start going to therapy, you saw her? What's some of the things that, like, the coping mechanism that you used that originally helped you?
First thing was meds, for one, that because I had to get stable, because with bipolar disorder, it's something it's a chemical imbalance in your body.
Yeah.
So the medication helped with that. And so with that, I learned what meds. It took me a while to figure out what meds work the best for me, but then also incorporating diet and exercise too. That actually helped out as well. And then the journaling, like I said.
Okay. So was there any friction or uncomfortability with saying, all right, now I'm on medication for a mental condition? Was there any friction with that? Was it something that you was battling within yourself?
Oh, definitely, because at first, just to find the right meds, it takes time, and then it's not a one pill and it solves everything for you, because it's a process. And then even when you take your meds, you still have to continue to work at getting better. It's not just it's not like a painkiller, whereas you take a painkiller and it knocks out the pain and you're automatically cured. So it was definitely something that it was a process to realize it was a process to actually get better.
Definitely. Me personally, I work with teenage kids, and I see they have some behaviors that people might seem as negative. They might have attitudes. They might fight a lot. What's some of the signs that me or anyone working with teenagers or kids should look out for when someone is suffering from depression or bipolar disorder?
It can range from a number of things. So one, if you really know the kid, getting to know their routines and stuff, and anything, and they start to fall out of those types of routines, that's something that, definitely needs to be addressed. When they start with, if it's a social kid and they start to withdraw from people and not really talkative and things of that nature, those are some things you might want to pick up on and just ask the question, are you okay? Or is something going on? A lot of times we ignore the subtle signs when it comes down to addressing any type of mental health issue, whether if it's a good student and their grades are dropping, or whether it's just, you may see that they're maybe picking on weight or losing a lot of weight because they may not be eating, or they may be overeating. Just even certain signs, a lot of times now, cutting is big too, like looking at their actual physical appearance, just to see like around their arms and things of that nature. They may be engaging in some type of self-mutilation techniques or anything like that. One thing is really paying attention to the child and then getting to know them.
Okay.
And once you notice a certain change in them, that's when just start to ask questions, like, "Oh, are you okay?" And even if you don't notice any change, I mean, just someone asking you, "Are you okay?" could you never know what gate you may open where they feel like you actually really care.
It's true. So someone, like, if you stay along that track, let's say I ask a student, are you okay? Is everything all right? And then they say no, not. But I'm not I'm not a doctor. So how can I go about getting them the resources that they need?
A lot of times it's a lot of different community resources.
Okay.
One tool that I like to point out to people is Psychology Today. That's a great resource where they list a lot of different therapists and mental health professionals that range from working with adults to children, and they can address any types of needs. A lot of times in your community, there may be some community health centers that may be address certain issues. And if it's a real issue where that the individual may be thinking about hurting themselves or hurting someone else, you may want to take them to the hospital immediately and then get them checked out, whether it's a behavioral hospital or maybe a local hospital that may have a behavioral floor to address those certain needs. Because it's not something that, especially if they say they want to hurt themselves or hurt somebody else, it's not something that you want to push off or just say, oh, well, maybe you'll feel better tomorrow or maybe you'll feel better later on. It's something that you want to address head on right then.
Definitely. So, I guess within your journey with Eustress and doing other things with getting this information out to communities, what's some of the obstacles or some of the obstacles that you face, and on the other side, some of the things that were unexpectedly good that you faced?
I would guess the main obstacle was just getting out my own way.
Okay.
Honestly, and recognizing that I can tell my story, and me being able to tell my story will help a lot of people.
Okay.
But a lot of times that I have to be open and honest with people, because that people gravitate towards that. A lot of times I don't sugarcoat anything when it comes down to things that I may be dealing with, because I just let people know, even though I'm still talking about these types of things, I still have to take care of myself as well, and it's still it's an ongoing struggle when it comes down to managing my symptoms and making sure that I'm okay. So I think one of the major obstacles that I face is a lot of people want to reach out to me and a lot of people want my help, but then also I have to learn how to say no when it comes down to certain things, and being able to take that step back to take care of myself, because just because people want me there at all times doesn't mean that I have to be there at all times. If that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. You can't help anybody if you're in trouble yourself.
Right. And then I think one of the things that I was surprised by just in this journey was just the simple fact that the warm reception that I get from when I talk about these certain things. And then just the people, if I go to a school and speak to kids, or if I do a workshop with individuals in the workplace or for educators or anything like that, the questions and stuff that they ask because of the fact they may be dealing with something on their own, or they may have a close one that's dealing with some things, and they come to tell me, oh, you really helped me out, and thank you for doing what you're doing. Or sometimes people want to reach out to me after the fact, and because they're not comfortable with sharing what they have going on in front of a group of people, which I understand. And just helping them navigate what space they need to actually go to and how to address certain issues.
Okay. So, I mean, thank God they did. But what made you think that your family had the strength or the mindset to get you help? Because, you know, a lot of, like you said earlier, a lot of people in the Black community, that's not their thing. Going to therapy and getting mental health is not their thing. They just say, "Oh, get it together," or, you know, pray, get yourself on the altar.
Pray about it.
Yeah.
Right.
But what made you think that your family took that approach and say, you know, we're gonna take them to get real help?
Well, one thing is, I grew up. I'm the only child, so with my mom, I talk to my mom every day, and my mom knows me, so she could tell that something was going on. And I was actually in college at the time, so she could tell that something was going on. But then, in addition to that, my uncle has been working in the mental health field for about 20 years now. So at the time, he's seen certain things as far as like he's worked with children that are in group homes, actually providing therapy to children and all of those types of things. So they knew it wasn't a physical problem. So they was like, well, and then I wouldn't actually talk about what was actually going on at the time. So it was like, well, it's not a physical problem, so it has to be mental, and we're going to take you here. And we're not going to just let you say, oh, you're good or anything like that. Nah, we're right here in your face. I don't care if you don't want to go. We're going to drag you here, which they literally did, and we're going to stay here until we figure out what's going on.
Well, they forcefully saved your life, basically.
Right. Definitely. I'm forever grateful for that.
So, what's something to someone who has a family member, they don't know exactly what it is. They just know their family, they're just not themselves. They're going through a little bit of something, but they know that their family member is not themselves. What's something that you could say that they could tell their family member to get help without literally physically dragging them, unless maybe that might be the answer. What's something you would say to them?
Like I said, if it's to a point where they're going to harm themselves or harm themselves or harm somebody else, they may need to be physically dragged to the hospital. But in other cases, it's, for one, letting them know that you care and letting them know that you won't judge them no matter what.
True.
Because a lot of times we don't actually discuss the things that are actually going on in our head or what we're going through, because we feel like someone is going to judge us. We feel like it's going to show some type of weakness. And like I said before, a lot of times we don't even know how to explain it. And actually somebody always telling you, oh, well, you can talk to me, or they're trying to force something out of you, that's not even a good way to try to, help somebody. A lot of times I know sometimes I get into my moods whereas I don't want to be alone, but I don't want to do a whole lot of talking with somebody either. You can just be there, and your presence can be there, can help me out, just having your presence there. But then some people don't understand that. They're going to keep bugging you. Oh, what's wrong? So just advising that person that you were there for them. You can maybe ask subtle questions like, what's been going on? Or how was your day? Or, what's been stressing you out lately? I noticed this, and the third, so if you want to talk about it, I'm here. Don't ever feel like you're alone. And a lot of times, honestly, too, just from my perspective and what I've witnessed with the work that I do is, if you share a little bit about yourself, they will open up too.
Wow, that's true.
Because we have to. If you're trying to get someone to open up, they're not gonna. If they don't feel comfortable, I mean, you just sharing something small about yourself that they may not know will get them to. It'll help build that trust.
What's
And then that way they'll, maybe you can really get down to the real issue. And then if it's something that you can't handle, direct them to where they may need to go. And if they need to go, maybe you suggest that you go with them, and yet you're there for a support, because you can't do this alone.
Of course not. Absolutely. I got one more question, and I'm gonna let you go. Thanks again for your time. So, what's something that we could give advice or help someone who's not showing any symptoms? Let's say someone's going through something, but they're not showing any symptoms. Let's say it could be a death in the family, or it could be a divorce, or something dramatic is happening in their life, but they're just trying to go along like nothing is wrong. What's something you could say to them? Because mentally it's not okay, but what's something you
Right.
could say to that person?
It's interesting that you asked this question, man, because I recently lost my grandmother about 3 weeks ago.
Oh wow, I'm sorry to hear
And
that.
thank you. But I've had to deal with myself that I still haven't processed the fact that she died.
Okay.
And a lot of times it's funny that you asked that, because I'm still taking care of other people around me.
Yeah.
I'm still making sure my mom and my aunts and uncles are okay. I'm making sure that my granddad is still okay. And then on top of that, I still have work to do.
Yeah. Wow.
So I push all of that stuff to the back burner or whatever, and people will never know that maybe I'm still trying. Well, I haven't even begun the process of grieving, and it's been almost 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
So one thing is, like I said, it's just like if you see somebody with symptoms, acknowledging that they may be possibly going through something and letting them know that you're there.
Yeah.
Because I have a friend that reached out to me that was like, well, we know that this specific event went on, but we haven't seen you do anything outside of the norm yet.
Yeah.
So, and that way you can bring it up to them.
Yeah.
And then, but then you also letting them know that you are there to support, but you also acknowledging that whenever you get to that point, I'm here for you.
Of course, yeah. Because of course, you don't want to think negative, but it's gonna happen. You're gonna have to grieve at some point.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Right.
So like, I had a friend tell me that, and and it was real. It was real.
Definitely.
And I know for a fact that when I get to that point, that I know who I can call on, and who's really been paying attention to me. True. As far as they're just sitting there waiting on it to happen,
Yeah, definitely true. And again, I'm sorry to hear that. And
man,
it's
I appreciate
good.
it.
It's good that maybe that might be your coping mechanism, is that you're able to stay busy and help your family. So that might be therapeutic for you instead of letting it hit you right away.
Right.
Rwenshaun, thank you once again, and keep up the great work that you're doing. We need it, because just seeing, I follow you on Facebook, just seeing some of the things you did, it made me start researching more about mental health and processing things within myself, and so definitely inspiration, and definitely keep up the good work, and thank you for your time, man.
I really appreciate it, man, and that's really what I want to do, man, is inspire people to become more knowledgeable, because we in our community, we try to ignore these things that go on with us, and like you said, like write it off as, oh, just pray about it or just get over it or those types of things, but we're really affected by it, and especially as Black men, we need to understand that we are people. We have different emotions and feelings and all of those types of things. And it's okay to be sad. It's okay to cry. It's okay to do all of these types of things. Despite what society says a man's supposed to be, we're people first.
That's true.
So addressing those issues, it'll only make you a better person,
of course,
which in turn will make you a better man.
Yeah. Definitely, man. Thanks for that last tidbit, man. I really appreciate it. And it's hard,
No,
like
no
like you
problem.
said, a man is is a provider, a hard worker, but like you said, he's a person first. So of course, you still,
Right,
while you're working, while you're providing, while you're doing all these things, you still have feelings. you still
right,
go through things. You still gonna love your grandmother no matter what, no matter how strong you
right,
are. You're
right,
running business, you're public speaking, but you're still a person.
right. Exactly,
Yeah. Thank.
exactly. So I mean, we have to take because honestly, no one's going to take care of you better than you take care of yourself.
It's true. It's true.
So
That's
you got
true.
to take care of yourself.
Definitely, man. And Sean, I don't want to keep you all night, man, but thanks again so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it. Before you leave, how can
No
people reach
problem.
out to you? How can people reach out to you?
Oh man, you can get in contact with me either via Facebook or Instagram. A lot of times I'm on social media, so it's Rwenshaun. My Instagram is at Rwenshaun, is RWENSHAUN.
Okay.
Rwenshaun Miller on Facebook. Pretty sure I'm the only one out there, so it wouldn't be hard to find me. You can also check out my website and my blog is Rwenshaun.com.
Okay.
Eustress is EustressinC.org. That's the nonprofit that I run. So also be on the lookout for different events and stuff that I'm doing through Eustress. And we're doing the mental health awareness walks. We're doing the weekly calls with men. There's a lot of different things going on. A lot of different moving parts right now.
Okay. Great, man. I'm glad you're staying busy. Of course, take time for yourself whenever you can. And thanks so much for the great work you're doing, man. You're really helping a lot of people.
I appreciate it. I really do. Thanks for having me on tonight.
All right, man. Have a good night.
All right, you too.
I told you guys. I told you. Very powerful story. Thank you again, Rashawn, for being on the show. Powerful, powerful story. Great information. He's been going around the country giving this information, just getting people just to check themselves out. He has this slogan, "Let's talk about it," because it's a lot of things that just in our community it goes unsaid. It's a lot of people self-medicating, a lot of people abusive to each other, and we don't know why, right? We just go along with it, then we start, going towards a particular religion, or we start going towards other philosophies, and we try to bury it. We'll bury it with church. We'll bury it with liquor. We'll bury it with drugs. We'll bury it with sex, instead of just like Rwenshaun, like his slogan says, just talking about it. Like, just get through it. A lot of times we go through things that are very, very dramatic, um and it doesn't feel right. It's something you don't want to talk about, like losing a loved one, or losing money. Like, people are predicting a great stock market crash. They say it comes every 8 years, and I guess this is the 8th year, or maybe next year will be the 8th year. And so losing money, right? Losing loved one, losing money, failed relationships. All these things can cause mental problems, but we'll occupy ourselves with other things, like we'll party more, or we'll become promiscuous, or we just won't talk to people. That could be another extreme. And I think it's always good to, if you're going through something, and I think I gotta learn this for myself also. If something is going on, just check it out. Thanks again, Rashawn, for doing the show, and talk to you guys next week. As always, you can email me, show@averagej.com. Once again, show@averagej.com. I hate average JAY. That is my Twitter and my Snapchat. I hate average podcast is the Instagram. And I'll talk to you guys next week.